Hi guys, so I've got another review of one of my favourite Sony lenses. This time it's my second favourite lens that I'm going to give my sort of real life review on. Similar to the last one, I'm not going into sort of distortion and vignetting and things like that. This review is going to be more sort of just hands-on. How's it work? Are the pictures sharp? What can you use it for? And some of the features of the lens as well. The lens I've got today is the 18-105 f4 G lens, and this is an APS-C lens, so although you could use it on a full frame body, it is designed for APS-C cameras like the A6000 that I've got it on just now. I'll talk you through the features of the lens first, why I bought this lens and what I've predominantly used it for. It has a 72mm filter thread, similar to the 70-200 f4. So as I said in that video, if you've got 72mm filters, they will work on both lenses, so it saves you a bit of money there. It's got a nice big plastic lens hood. Certainly not as high quality as the lens hood on the 70-200, but this lens is significantly cheaper. However, it does give the front element a fair bit of protection, particularly if you're using this for some run and gun stuff outside where you might get a little bit of drizzle. It's not weather sealed, but certainly here in Scotland we can't control the rain. It comes and goes as it pleases. One of the best features for me with this lens is the internal zoom that it's got. So for gimbal work, I do a lot of video work predominantly, and this lens has been an absolute saviour when it's came to things like weddings and filming DJ events and things like that. If it's outside, if it's indoor and dark, no, you wouldn't be using this lens. So typically for the weddings I've done, this lens has done me right up until the speeches. When the speeches come around, the lens goes in the bag and that's it, done for the day. In terms of video work, the f4 on a crop sensor just doesn't give you quite enough light to make it that usable. So the zoom ring, I don't actually use this too much. It is very smooth and quite easy to move. It takes a little bit of resistance, but not too much. And the reason I don't use that one too much is because of the power zoom feature it's got on the reverse of the lens, where you can just control the zoom from wide to tele with the flick of a finger. It is nice and smooth, but I'm not really interested in filming stuff while zooming in, but it's more for changing focal length on the go, especially when it's on the gimbal. Really handy for being able to just gently push that up if I want to zoom in, or down if I want to move out, as opposed to trying to twist that while it's on the gimbal itself. So I really find myself using the power zoom feature quite a lot. There is a bit of a delay with the zoom, and so if it takes a second or two to kick in, because I believe it is an electronic zoom and not a mechanical zoom. So basically that means you're letting the camera catch up with your press. It is, however, sensitive to how much you push the switch up or down. So if you push it right the way up, it'll zoom in quicker, and just a tiny bit, and it'll zoom obviously quite slow. But can be quite difficult to get a specific focal length if that's what you're after with this. The manual focus ring at the top there, nice and smooth again, very similar to the resistance on the zoom ring itself. Don't tend to use this too much, as I say, typically on my gimbal, so I'm relying on the excellent autofocus that the A6000 gives you. So I haven't made too much use of that. It is quite a big lens, as you can see. It's not too heavy, I think it's 465 grams, but I'll double check that and put it on the video if I'm wrong. So it feels a little bit front heavy, but not too much, certainly not as much as the 70-200. And overall feels quite nice in the hand. In terms of being a walk around lens with it around your neck, it's big enough. This is a bit of an opinionative point. It's big enough that it's going to feel like yeah, this guy knows what he's doing in terms of having a big lens if that's what you're looking for. But if you're looking for something quite discreet in terms of like street photography, it's maybe not the best. You're maybe better to go with something like the 35 that I'm filming this on just now. Interestingly, this is on the A7 III I'm filming this, but this time I'm using the 35mm 1.8 for the APS-C bodies. So I'm in super crop mode just now, or super 35 mode, and still filming in 4K. So it'll be interesting to see how the quality difference compares to the previous video I did on the 78-200. As I say, this one for video is a just superb lens. The autofocus of the Sony a6000 combined with the hugely versatile 18-105 zoom range just means this lens can do just about everything in terms of video. The 18 is wide enough for me. I do have the Sony 10-18, which is a very expensive lens, but if you're not specifically doing like real estate or any sort of internal work like that, your 18 is going to be wide enough. I'll throw some pictures up, or some sample footage first, since I've talked about the video features more, of this at both 18mm. That'll typically be wedding footage that you'll be seeing, and then I'll throw up some of the more telephoto end at 18-105. The other thing that's worth mentioning is if you are using this on for video work, if you set your camera's zoom feature to clear image zoom, as soon as you zoom in with the 18-105 power zoom, when you reach 105, if you keep pushing up on the power zoom, it will go beyond 105 into the clear image zoom feature that the Sony cameras have. I do have a video comparing the quality difference between just using the normal focal length of the lens and using the clear image zoom feature as well, to see if there was any degradation in video quality. So have a look at that and see what you think. I didn't notice anything significant, but I was doing that in good lighting, so whether your lighting would impact that or not remains to be seen. In terms of photography, this lens, a lot of people have said, when I was looking at buying this lens, some of the videos said it wasn't the best for photos. However, I've done quite a bit of photography work with this lens, where I've just been out on random walks and experimenting with the bokeh you can produce at the 105 and the wide angle at 18. Trying to experiment, see what I can come up with. I'll throw some of the images I've came up with that I'm really pleased with. In terms of the sharpness, I'm blown away by it in terms of, for what is meant to be a relatively jack of all trades, master of none type lens, I've got absolutely no complaints with the sharpness you get from this, both out wide at f4 and 18mm right the way into 105. It's just been superb. To touch back on the video work, a lot of the video work I've done with this has been outdoor, where instead of using filters to keep it that f4, because it's wedding stuff and I don't really want to take that risk of you know, having the odd focus change here and there, generally I've narrowed the aperture down to around f8 and it just works like an absolute dream. So overall, I would say if you're looking at getting one lens for your A6000, A6300, A6500, and your sort of consumer level, not particularly needing a specialist lens, you can't do better than this. You'll find it's pretty much unavailable secondhand or used anywhere, and that's with good reason. The sort of competitor to this would be the Zeiss 16-70, which gives you that extra couple of millimeters at the wide end, which might not sound like a lot, but at the wide end it does have a much more, each millimeter has much more of an impact than at the telephoto end. So they are very comparable in terms of the zoom range and both f4 aperture, but I would say, and I haven't tested the 16-70, so I can't say for sure, but when you look at the sheer number of 16-70 Zeiss lenses that are available used, and compare that to the number of these that are available used, it's night and day, and I think that speaks volumes. The lens does have OSS, so you don't have to worry about if you've got a A6000 and worried about image stabilization. That's built into the lens. And other than that, I think that just about wraps up this video. If you found this useful, again, hit that like button for me, and if you've got any questions about the lens, please pop them down in the comments below and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.